What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, coming at you live through the power of stolen
Whoa.
catchphrases.
Yeah, you can't
How are
say
you guys
that.
doing today? I don't think it's trademarked. I
Oh,
don't
it's
think
gotta be,
so.
right?
Plus, the reason Boogie's not here is because I ate Boogie. So
You ate
he's
him.
he's within me now. The catchphrase, he
Oh.
said that through me. The
Okay.
stones are in me. Anyway, speaking of great sci-fi movies, we just saw Alita Battle Angel. And
Okay. Is
yeah,
that what we're
great.
gonna call it?
Well, okay. Look, maybe great sci-fi movies is a little bit strong, but I know people have in the past they've gotten a little bit frustrated with us when all we do is dunk on a movie. So why don't we start with the good parts of the movie?
Well, hold on.
What?
Before we
Oh,
jump into that,
okay,
we're
okay.
gonna talk about the movie
Alita
Alita
Battle
Battle
Angel.
Angel. Spoiler free for a few minutes. We're gonna tell you
Yes.
what we think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler free. That way, if you haven't seen it yet, you still have a chance to go see it, not have anything ruined. After that, and we will warn you well ahead of time, we're gonna jump into spoiler talk. And
Right.
we'll give you a time code to skip ahead so you don't get spoiled on anything that you don't want to. So, with that being said, how did you feel about this movie?
So,
Ellis?
spoiler free, I'm like I said, I'm going to start with the good things about the movie, okay?
Okay,
And that
that's
way,
good.
the people that are like, I don't want to watch two fucking assholes just be negative about a movie that I liked, you can just not watch the last half of the video. That's okay with us, won't hurt our feelings none.
Spoilers for the spoiler section.
It visually, very impressive, okay? The CG in it was pretty creative, right?
Yeah.
I enjoyed the design on a lot of the cool robot cyborg stuff. Spoilers, there were robot cyborgs in the movie. Technically very impressive. There were pretty good performances by most of the actors and actresses involved, with some small exceptions. I liked the world that they inhabited. It was visually pretty interesting. Your turn, Jacob. What did you like about the movie?
I liked the visual design of a lot of the robots in the movie, but
Yeah.
not a lot else. And I thought that
This is the hard part of the review for us, is what did we like about the movie?
Yeah, I didn't like this movie too much. I didn't have. I will say one of the things that I did like about it, this is kind of a neg against the movie, is that my favorite part was how much I chuckled at.
Well, I chuckled a lot
at the silliness of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the movie was trying to be silly, which made it seem even sillier.
It definitely walked that line between taking itself seriously and not doing so, where sometimes it was like, oh, this is like, you're supposed to turn off your brain and have a fun time. And then sometimes it was really trying to be a lot deeper than that, and I don't know, give me some kind of a message that I don't know why we decided to go down that road for this particular film.
Yeah, I don't know. So the basic story here is that this robot is suddenly alive and has no memories and is in a world that she doesn't really understand, and she's trying to find out about her past. After having watched the trailer for this movie, I thought that's what I was going to enjoy about it, was there's going to be a bunch of cool robot fights.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to be invested in the robots as characters, so I would enjoy the fights. I would like them a lot, and there were several fights that I did like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
entertaining to watch.
They were a lot of fun to watch. You know how movies like Pacific Rim, everything's like big and it just feels like CGI bumping into CGI. It doesn't feel like anything has any weight.
Mm-hmm.
This movie actually did a pretty good job of making the things feel like they were hitting each other.
Sure.
Whenever
yeah.
they were like fighting and punching and hitting with weapons and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like they were doing that.
Yeah.
And another good point about this, this has one of my favorite cyborg characters that I've ever met in a movie at all.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And he was rad and very good. And I wish, honestly, that the movie was about him
I want
a little bit more.
The movie about him, please. Maybe that's what part 2 will be. Maybe that's what we'll see. Because the movie definitely leaves itself open for a sequel, almost desperately. Like, please, we want to make a sequel to this film. And maybe we'll get one.
I mean,
people are seeing it. People seem to enjoy it. I don't know, how well it's doing financially, but James Cameron's got a lot of money.
Yeah. Robert Rodriguez is a popular director.
Yeah.
So I think we should go ahead and get into spoiler talk here, because
all right, here's the
a lot
time
of
code.
The things that I have to say are going to be spoilers. So if you do not want to hear, we're going to talk about major plot points, stuff like that. If you don't want to hear anything about that, click on this time code right now.
Right now.
Right now. Okay,
Right.
Ellis.
Right now. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so
Jacob.
let's talk about the plot of this movie.
Yeah.
So the movie starts. There's a plot. Okay, hold on. Wait.
There is a plot. I'm being too harsh. There's definitely a plot to the film.
The problem here lies in that there's not an end to this plot.
No, there's not. We are given a setup where our character is naive and new to the world. She's the Luke Skywalker character, which gives the director, basically, or the writers, an excuse to explain things to the audience, right? That's the point of having a character who doesn't know anything, and why you need that, because otherwise we don't know anything about the world. So they explain, basically a couple of facets of like, yeah, we live below where all of the rich people live, and it's bad down here. Everybody plays a sport called motorball, and everybody has cybernetic enhancements for some reason. And that was something that really distracts me, is that it's the future. So a bunch of people go to our main character's father figure, Christoph Waltz. I do not remember his name.
Edo.
Edo, thank you. Everybody goes to Edo for repairs for their cybernetic limbs. Why are there so many amputees in this world?
I mean,
why does everybody... Well, accidents happen now. There aren't that many people walking around without arms.
Okay, I have an explanation here. All right?
Okay.
So one of the characters at some point during the many, many minutes of just one character expositing to another how the world works, one character explains that nobody's allowed to have guns.
Yeah.
So everybody's got swords, right? Everybody's running around with swords.
Well, one guy has a sword.
Well,
other people have
swords.
Have some stuff. There's like a lady with weird scythe hands. How do you pick stuff up? She had scythe feet.
I actually have several questions about how you think some of these robots live their normal everyday. Because presumably some of these motorball players are like, they go home and they like
hang out, right?
And hang out and stuff. But like, how are you gonna do that if you're 14 feet tall and your hands are saws?
I don't know. It's even explained in the world that she needs to eat because she has a human brain, and you gotta nourish that brain. It's later discovered that she doesn't need to breathe, so I don't really understand that. If she needs to eat, why wouldn't she need to breathe? Yeah. But whatever, that's fine. Sci-fi, we invented the jigama-what, and it's fine, right? I get it. They've got super oxygenated blood serum. Their blood is blue. Maybe it's because of all the oxygen in there just pumping through the vein.
That blue stuff I thought that was Powerade. I thought they were just pumping Powerade.
Maybe they run on Powerade. Okay, maybe. If this movie revealed to me that all the robots just run on Powerade, I'd be a little bit more into it. Because that's an example of not taking yourself too seriously.
Right. Yeah, if they like the fluids in their body were some sort of like electrolyte enhanced solution.
But I don't
that would be
I don't understand how these robots live their everyday. Okay, we keep using the word robots. They are cyborgs. It's very clear.
Cyborgs.
They're cyborgs. They're part people. They're not just robots.
Yeah.
There are also robots in the world, but all of the cyborgs still have to eat. How do you eat with saw hands? Do you take them off? Do you have regular hands that you put on at home? Does somebody just feed you?
Maybe they just don't eat.
Do you have like a regular job?
I mean, in addition, they would. I think they're all criminals.
It seems like everybody is a criminal. They talk
Alita,
about like Republic credits or whatever, but I never saw anybody once pay with money.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that until just now. So Alita is brought back to life by Dr. Edo. Mm-hmm. He finds her in a trash pile and decides he likes her.
Yep.
So he sticks the head that he found onto a robot body and brings her back to life. whenever she wakes up, she yawns, which I thought was a very weird thing for a robot body to do, but whatever. You know what? Sometimes you yawn. So Alita starts wandering around the neighborhood and meeting the people who live around her, including the love interest, who is named Hugo, which is a interesting sci-fi name.
Look, people it's the named Hugo Awards. That's literally the sci-fi award.
And Vector and Zapan and
Hugo.
So Hugo he takes an interest in Alita. He has no comment on the way her face looks.
Nope, nobody even reacts to the fact that she is the only character, the only cyborg lady who has giant eyes.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Everybody treats it like it's normal. So I guess we're supposed to.
It's super weird. It's super weird. But on the other hand, like, there's also people running around with swords for hands. So
maybe you got big eyes, not that big of a deal.
Ain't that weird?
Sure, I get that.
I'm kind of on that side of it. Of like, it's fine that she has big eyes. It's a little off-putting, but I could see why characters wouldn't react to it.
Sure.
So I kind of zoned out a little bit at this point because this part of the movie was a lot of people walking around explaining things to Alita. They would just like point at something and the camera would pan around and you would look at a thing and they're like, that's the hunter warrior. Is that what they're called? Hunter warriors?
I think they're called hunter warriors. They're bounty hunters. I don't know why
they're bounty hunters.
They call them hunter warriors.
So the world that they live in doesn't have police. It just has mercenaries that the rich people hire to deal with people who murder people. It doesn't seem like anyone else cares about any other crime, just murder. So I don't know what that's about.
Maybe we just don't see any of that other crime. Maybe they have a shockingly low theft rate,
Maybe there's just nothing to steal.
I'm not trying to get into the minutia of how this world works. Maybe that's explained more in the anime, which I don't. By the way, we should mention neither of us have seen the anime, so
no.
Source material. We're judging this solely on like as a movie on its own, and it is even a little too nitpicky or unfair for us to start getting into like, do people pay taxes in this world? How does this work? What is the minutia of their system of government? Not going to get into that. I understand.
I'm not gonna worry about that.
That's an unfair criticism.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that kind of made me zone out was Hugo, just in general. He is a goofy idiot. The character himself seems kind of goofy, and the actor who played him, I don't know. I don't think he knew what movie he was in.
He doesn't really act like anybody else in the movie.
No, he acts like he's in a Disney Channel original movie.
Yes.
And he's like the best friend of the main character who's a little goofy and on the wrong side of things sometimes, but has a good heart.
Yeah, he's got a heart of gold.
He's got a something. He's got a big dumb motorcycle is what
he does have a big dumb motorcycle.
So one of the other characters we're introduced to is Jennifer Connelly. I don't remember her character's name.
She's the one with the purple jewel in her forehead.
Yeah, which I thought was a fashion accessory.
Turns out it's not.
Movie. Turns out it is not. It's indicative of
your heritage. From? Yeah, she's from the above city called, is it Zoram?
Zoland?
Zoolander? She's from Zoolander, and that she's really upset because she's no longer in Zoolander, and she really wants to go back to Zoolander, so she's doing all kinds of stuff that's, I guess not illegal, but maybe immoral?
I'm really upset I can't remember the name of the city because they
said
it
to the floating city.
Times.
They do say it a lot. I don't understand why. It's sort of glossed over why they had to leave, because Christoph Waltz, her ex-husband, just says, well, our daughter got sick, so we got kicked out.
Yes. That is the reason that she and Ito are both down here.
Yes.
At this point is unclear what happened to the daughter, but Jennifer Connelly runs into Alita and has a weird reaction to her.
Yes, because she's in her dead daughter's body.
Yeah, Yeah, so Ito chose to repair Alita using the body that he had made for their daughter that she did not get a chance to use.
Right. Because a drug addict
A junkie
slash
killer.
like mega cyborg man comes in and just like randomly kills her on the way out of the room.
This is that happens in a flashback.
That fucking
way
scene
later
is
in the
so
movie.
bad, man.
But it was a weird scene of a guy coming in and punching a bunch of like glass
To
get
steal drugs,
to
because
steal
that's what he wants
drugs.
for some reason.
And Ito confronts him to tell him to stop, and Ito's daughter is in the background of the junkie, runs past Ito and bumps into the daughter, killing her.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was real strong, and he hit her once, and that was it. It was done.
Well, the reason that they had this guy kill her and not like her disease or whatever is Ito was like, oh, it was my past coming back to haunt me. I was
Right.
enhancing these guys who weren't using their enhancements for good. They were using them for evil. And so I made this guy super strong, and then it came back and bit me in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So like I see where they were coming from with it, and maybe it just kind of got lost in editing.
Maybe.
It was just
most of the like kill shots or things sort of happen off camera, so it is a little bit unclear what actually ends up happening to her, except when they don't. And that's definitely something I want to bring up, is that Alita is the protagonist, and there's this big sort of onus on like, hey, don't kill people, or like, I don't want you to go out there and kill people. That's shitty, even though I do that for a living, I guess.
So the hunter killers are bounty hunters. They
Uh-huh.
somebody gets accused of being a murderer. They find out about it. They go and kill them.
Right.
Back, I guess, is the
Yep.
plan. So Ito, by day, is a doctor, and at night is a hunter killer.
Mm-hmm.
And Alita finds out about this and determines that she wants to go with him to help him out because she's good at fighting.
Mm-hmm.
She's sure that she's good at fighting. She gets into a fight whenever she follows him the first time to confront him about this, and has a flashback to a memory that she has left over, and she's like, this is the way that I'm going to find out about my past.
This is who I am.
Is by continuing to fight people. So I
Mhm.
want to go with you. And Ito does not want this to happen. He doesn't want her to hurt people.
Right. So she does it anyway.
So she does it anyway.
She murders so many people. Her fucking kill count in that movie is higher than any other character's. Now, it's not like, she's just being a dick. They're all trying to kill her. But in most PG-13 movies, in most scenarios like this, they just sort of like knock them out or throw them away so that they can just sort of like go be injured off camera or whatever. She's like throwing people into like giant grinders and like cutting them in half. She stabs a dude in the eye socket. I don't know how he doesn't die from that.
Yeah,
his
he was
head
fine.
is human. He was totally fine.
I think that there are a lot less human parts on some of these cyborgs than the movie let on.
Okay.
Just because of the things that happen to them whenever they get damaged and hurt. At one point, she like cuts a guy's face. He has like a human face, and she cuts his face with a sword, and it cuts off the like front part of it, which was super weird looking and fucked up. But underneath, it was just like robot parts. It wasn't like a regular human face. Things like that, it's like, well, yeah, he's probably fine, but no, throwing the guy in the grinder, that guy died.
That guy's super dead, right? That guy's
guy's
like ultra dead.
Now, they are bad guys. It is set up within the story that these people chasing her are all wanted, and she's a hunter-killer, and so she's like, well, I'm going to do my job and kill these people, I guess, is her plan. So Jennifer Connelly wants to get back to the, and she works for a man who promises that will happen. He makes a similar promise to Hugo as well, as long as they continue doing their shady, pseudo-illegal activities to further the sport of motorball?
Yeah, motorball.
Is that what it's called?
I think it's called motorball. The ball does not have a motor.
There are two... Well, we don't know that.
I guess so. That's the most ambiguous sport I've ever seen. You just
there are
skate in a circle?
There are two instances of motorball in the movie. All right, and the first one is done by regular humans with rocket skates, I think is what they have.
Motor skates.
They
That's
have
why it's
motor
motor
skates.
ball.
They hold a little remote and they press a button and it makes them go.
Yep.
So it turns out, because Alita is a super strong cyborg who is fighting regular old humans, that she just like knocks them around and is not a problem at all. And she's very good at motorball.
Mm-hmm.
And so now she feels that she is destined to be a good motorballist.
Motorballist? Motorballer?
Motorballer. That's pretty good. I
think
that
it's
one.
motorballer.
So the second instance of motorball in the movie happens way later.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think so Hugo
needs money, and she's gonna go win a bunch of
Sky
money.
City, and she decides she's gonna play motorball to win the money so they can both go to the Sky City.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think at this point they've determined that you just need money to get there. Mahershala Ali's character said, "Oh, if you give me $1 million, I'll send you up to the Sky City."
Yeah.
And so Alita's like, "No, we're in love. We love each other, so I will go and do the motorball thing, win a bunch of money, and we'll both get there." Even though nobody has told her that she can go.
Right.
Like, or that would be okay at all. So the second motorball scene happens at this point, and Mahershala Ali has determined that he wants Alita to die.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unclear as to why. I don't know why.
Because then they're gonna go get her heart. She's got like a super special heart. That's the MacGuffin. Is she's got this like crazy powerful heart. And so they're going to go get it. I don't understand why they threw it out in the first place. It must have been a mistake. But I don't know how you make that mistake, because even when she's not Alita, she doesn't look like anything else in the entire world because she's got big eyes. How did you end up in a trash dump?
So Mahershala Ali, Vector, that's the character's name, Vector, plants a bunch of other hunter killers and also just criminals, like other bad guys, into this motorball fight to kill Alita. And at this point, she has gotten a new body that is far upgraded from the last one. They got destroyed in a fight.
Suck it, Christoph Waltz. Sorry about your daughter's dead body, but I got a better one now.
He seemed to not...
He didn't really care. Yeah, he was fine.
Multiple times he's like, let her go. I got other daughters, I guess. That one died. Clearly wasn't a good one. So she has an upgraded body, and the motorball fight is her just kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah, she just sort of kills all of them.
There's not like a moment of, tension where, oh, maybe she's not going to win this fight.
No.
She just completely kicks all of their asses.
Which is true of basically every single fight she's in except for one.
Yeah, which is the one that destroyed her last body.
Right.
That she still won anyways.
Yeah, she definitely still wins that fight.
She won that fight with
only one arm.
Hand.
With one hand and no legs.
No, one hand and no legs.
Somehow
she wins.
Somehow she gets him.
So that's the second scene of Motorball. Now, having seen 2 times characters play Motorball, I don't know how you play Motorball.
You get the ball and then you kill each other.
Okay.
The ball
kill each other with the ball?
Sometimes. Really, anything goes in Motorball, okay? The ball seems to be very tertiary to, we're going to put some cyborgs in a half pipe and they're going to murder the hell out of each other. And that's the sport. Somehow, you win?
This is not a bad sport. Honestly, like, I kind of get it. If they're like, oh, we have a blood sport, we dress it up as if it's like a... like, oh, you get the ball and you put it in the thing. You gotta
put it in the thing over there. Everybody go in a circle to the right.
It's just cyborgs murdering each other. Like, all right, I get that. If that's how you want it to be, fine. It would be a little bit weirder if they were just like, we cybernetically enhance all these people and teams spend millions of dollars, credits, whatever they have, to make this guy the best fighter, and then he gets killed or whatever, and they're just like out millions of dollars. Like, that would be weird if that's how it worked.
I guess so.
I guess you dress it up like this.
Man, okay, this brings up another point, and this is one of the things that all these like nitpicky things aside, this really does bother me about the whole film. It's very unclear what the stakes are for basically any conflict within it. because characters are constantly like getting cut in half or losing limbs, and they replace them just as easily, but it's always treated as though it is this big deal, right? Whenever somebody like, this cyborg lady gets cut at the waist, her face is like, oh, I'm dying, but you're already robot down there.
Yeah.
What is you're fine, right? Like it seems like you're going to be fine. Alita was found as basically just nothing but a head and like a little bit of neck. And they put her back together like it was no big deal. So I don't understand how anybody gets hurt when one of the main bad guys, what is his name? Geppetto, the bounty hunter dude.
Gachapon.
It's Gachapon Geppetto Zampanon. He gets his face cut off.
Zapon's a different guy.
Who is the fucking bounty hunter with the sword? I don't remember anybody's name. Okay, Zapon is who I'm talking about.
Yeah, the big buff robot, which is...
Oh, yeah, his name is John Grisham, I believe.
Yes, I think that's correct.
That's not who I'm talking about. When Zapon gets his face cut off and he's, like, really, really upset about it, can't you just get that put back on?
I mean, maybe there's, like a monetary thing.
I mean,
it's like, this was really expensive.
Yeah, but you're like a super badass bounty hunter. He's the best one. Surely he can afford it?
I guess. Maybe it was really difficult to get it the way that it looks now.
I don't know.
It's pretty unclear, honestly. Like a lot of the stakes are very unclear. When we're not sure what is going to be fatal to any of these characters.
Exactly. Like what is permanent damage. And what that means in a movie that is primarily centered around action and fight sequences, I have a hard time getting invested in them because it seems like you can basically recover from any injury except the ones that you can't for whatever reason. For some reasons you just sort of can't.
Somebody's head kind of comes off and that's the end of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes off and they get another body, and it's fine.
And they're just fine.
Because that happens to Hugo towards the end of the movie.
Yes.
They have to trick the weird crab leg robots, you have 10 seconds to comply robots
fucking
from
RoboCop things. Yeah, what? Why do they exist in this world? They're so slow and impractical when other people are flying around on wheelies.
So they are like enforcing a hit on Hugo, and Zapon wants to kill him, and Alita saves him by cutting his head off and then hiding it in her coat.
Yep, but she hooks it up to her heart, blood,
her tubes.
Her tubes.
She puts her tubes in there?
You know, because I don't know if you guys are doctors, but after my many years of medical training, I learned that really in here, it's basically just like two tubes sticking out. And if you've got the appropriate serial ports to just jam in those USBs, you're going to be just fine. That's all your brain needs, really. Just hook up those two tubes to his fucking torso. What?
Well, to his neck.
I guess so, yeah, to his neck.
Coming out of his neck, and his head was just like cradled in her jacket.
She's just holding it. Oh, and she shows the head, but she covers the tubes, and they're like, yeah, he must be dead.
Yeah, he's got to be dead. He's got
to be dead. Look, she's holding his head
in her pocket. Weirdly,
she's got to be dead.
That's not weird at all. And then he gets taken. So just the head, and it gets put on a robot body.
Yeah, and he's fine.
They fill
totally
it back
cool
up with Powerade.
Yep,
and it's fine.
Make sure the tubes are connected.
Once your head is attached to the robot body, maybe that's the point where if the head gets detached, you die. Because
I
don't
know.
Lady at the beginning, Alita kicks her head off and she dies.
I guess so, yeah. She also kind of crushes her skull, and so like I could see that. That makes sense, right?
Okay, yeah. I
you know,
guess
if you're because Alita's like, I'm all robot except I've got a human brain. So if that gets damaged, then it makes sense that she would die. Fucking, why does nobody wear a helmet? If that's your only vulnerable part, they have like all this armor on their already metal bodies. Nobody wears a goddamn helmet.
There's like the gearing up scene for the motorball where Alita, who is a cyborg with robot parts, is like putting padding on them. Like, those motherfuckers have guns and saw blades, and you're putting like a rubber shoulder pad on to your metal body.
She gets this special body from a crashed ship that's ancient technology that we can't make anymore, and it's like fucking indestructible vibranium nanotech or whatever. And they're like, yeah, you better put some knee pads on. We don't want you to get hurt out there when you're playing murder ball.
So we need to talk about Nova. So he is introduced as a character who takes over other people to talk through them.
Right.
This happens to Vector and to
John Grisham
a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
It's unclear what his goal is, other than
he wants Alita's heart and also her dead, but mostly her heart. But I guess he threw her away and was like, oh no, I left that super heart in there.
I don't know that he threw her. I mean, okay, listen, those are questions to be answered in the other movies that are going to come out that I'm definitely not going to watch. So Hugo Nova is introduced as a character who wants Alita dead. He wants the technology for himself
for
or
reasons.
back. For reasons. It's unclear. So he is the real puppet master pulling all of these strings. They kind of, I think the movie wanted to set up like you think that like, you know, the top of the pyramid is Vector and he's the real bad guy, but then there's got to be like, or it's like Gashpan and then it's Vector and then it's the, you know, there's like several characters that it's keeps going like, this is the real bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the real bad guy. And I feel like we were supposed to be like surprised by all of that. There's a scene where a group of like hoodlums tackle a cyborg and like
they cut him up for parts,
and then cut his parts off, and then they're like wearing like masks and stuff, and then one of them like pulls the mask down, and it's Hugo the whole time.
Oh
Surprise.
my god, he was the real bad guy.
But it looked like Hugo the whole fucking time, so
yeah,
it was not.
It was always Hugo. You could like see his hair.
You could see who it was, and then he like sells the parts to Vector, and you're like, oh, Vector's the real bad guy. One of the other things that happens in this movie, every character has the remarkable ability to just be in every scene with every other character, no matter where they're at. So Alita and Hugo are on the run. Hugo's hiding out, and Jennifer Connelly just like shows up and is there with them, and she like video calls Vector on her. It looked like a Nokia phone.
Yeah.
Did it look like a Nokia phone?
It's a future Nokia phone.
Okay. I actually, if it was a Nokia phone, I would kind of like that. If it's like the war destroyed everything in the world, but Nokia phones survived.
Still around.
Just, you know, every character is always in every scene with every other character, despite being in like random places.
Yeah.
There's just like a hunter-killer
How did you know
bar
that they were gonna go there?
that Alita goes and like beats some dudes up, and then Ito just shows up there to be like, uh-oh, we can't be fighting.
I'll
these
bet
guys.
Alita's here.
I bet Alita's
she'd go to
here
that hunter-killer bar. I know that.
to fight people, and then they're there kind of arguing about it for a second, and then Gashpan shows up, and he's like, I'm here to kill Alita. Well, how did you know she
How
was
does
gonna be
everybody know? Okay, maybe in that instance it's implied that Zepeto, what is dude's name? The guy who gets his face cut off with the sword. Zapan like goes and calls him on a payphone or whatever. It's like, hey, John Grisham, she's here. She broke my nose and I'm really upset about it. Would you come and just take care of this for me, please?
That was odd. I guess it kind of moved the story forward pretty quickly, because I will say there wasn't a lot of like dead air in this movie.
No, I wasn't bored, and that's really important.
Was happening.
Yes,
and whether or not I was confused by it is a whole different thing. But there was something always happening in the movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was me trying to figure out what motorball is, or how
I was
works.
often confused, but I was never bored. And that's kind of how I want to wrap this up, if you don't mind. I don't think that it's a boring movie. It's not, I don't know, a great example of cinematography and film, but it was entertaining.
I was entertained by it. I laughed a lot. Chuckled, I guess I should say. I didn't like laugh out loud. It wasn't like, oh, this is so dumb and ridiculous, because it definitely wasn't that. There was just a lot of little things here and there. And the last little bit was the most frustrating part to me, honestly.
You mean the ending or lack thereof?
Well, let's kind of lead into that. So Hugo he's got his robot body now. He's like, you know what? I'm going to the Sky City no matter what. And so he runs up the cable that is like attached to the Sky City, attaching it to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Alita is chasing him, trying to stop him and convince him not to do this because it's a bad idea. Because like, what's your plan at this point? So,
I gotta walk up the. I gotta get there. Just gotta get there.
Who has been revealed to be just a human being with like weird goggles, presses a button, which I don't know why this would be button operated at all, to activate the defense ring on the cable, and big blades start spinning and going down the cable, and they both try to jump over it, and Hugo fails and his body gets all cut up, and he falls off the cable. Alita tries to save him, but she fails, and he just falls into the clouds.
Yep.
And presumably dies.
Right.
Immediately after falling into the clouds, they do like a still shot, like a wide shot on the sky, and they do like a time passing like day night thing for a while. And then the Motorball announcer comes in and is like, oh, it's just been a couple of months and Alita's such a badass. She's going up through the ranks of Motorball, and she's going to get that final champion spot and get up to the Sky City or whatever. And then we get a scene of her in the locker room prepping for a fight, and she's got her sword and she like cries a little bit for her dead boyfriend. And then she goes out and to the arena and everybody cheers for her, and she points her sword at the sky. And then the
I'm
movie
coming
ends.
for you. And then the movie is just over.
And then that's the end of the movie.
That's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing is resolved or explained.
I mean, her boyfriend died.
I mean, I guess that counts as resolution or something.
He won't be in the second one.
You know what? Improvement.
Maybe he will. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they'll find a way to make him a whole robot.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I mean, she fell from the sky and she was fine.
I was extremely disappointed. So whenever she points her up at the Sky City, we get a shot of Nova with his little goggles on, and he like takes them off to like smile as if he's like, hey, like you're really gonna get me. I was really disappointed that he didn't take them off and then have like really, really, really tiny eyes. So did you notice who Nova was played by?
I did. It was Edward Norton for some reason.
Edward
What
Norton?
a fucking waste of Edward Norton.
He presumably he's gonna be in more of the movie.
I mean, if they make more of them, right? But in this case, he doesn't deliver a single line. He just reveals his face one time. That's all of it.
And kind of smirks.
I
bet it was even the body double that pressed the button.
Probably.
Because we just saw a hand in that shot. It probably wasn't even actually Edward.
I want to know how much Edward Norton was paid for that movie. How much does it cost to just get Edward Norton to like smirk in a camera one time?
Because I mean, like, if it's a reasonable price, maybe we can swing.
Yeah. Join us next time, the next episode of the Big Stack Podcast, where we will have famed actor Edward Norton's face for about 2 seconds on camera. That will be our guest, and we can't wait to see you guys there. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Big Stack Podcast, this boogie-less episode.
The boogie-less episode.
The boogie-less episode. Speaking of Boogie, go check out his stream on twitch.tv/BoogieChew988. I think his YouTube channel is also a similar URL, but with the YouTube in front. You can check out me and Ellis at twitch.tv/big_breakfast if you want more of us. We stream 4 days a week, and we just chit-chat about other stuff. If you are interested in it, in supporting this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/thebigstackpodcast and check that out. See if there's anything there that is interesting to you. Other than that, thank you so much for giving us your ears. We will see you next week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.